This is ST-321, code clearance blue. We're starting our approach to deactivate the security shield.
Hi, I'm Paul and I'm with my mate James and welcome to Code Clearance Blue, a show where we discuss all things Star Wars from our home here in the UK.
We would be honoured if you would join us.
I've been looking forward to this.
Hi everyone, welcome to a new edition of Code Clearance Blue. I think this is like episode 88 or something, 89 maybe.
Something like that.
That voice over there you can hear is Paolo. Back in the house again. We're creeping up towards the 100 mark, mate, aren't we?
We are creeping up. I think Andor helped with that, didn't it? With its with its mini film every week that we had to sort of get through and then to try to decipher it all in one block, which took about an hour and a half. So then splitting it out. So yeah, it's been it's definitely been good.
That's it. That's all good. Well, I think we'll get stuck into some like sort of post Andor reviews and feedback, etc. Are you feeling the Andor blues yourself?
Yeah, I'm a little bit because it was like a great series and not obviously there wasn't that many sort of plot twists or there was a little bit of a cliffhanger, do you know what I mean? Because obviously we knew where it was going. But
Yeah.
I suppose it was always just like, oh, how's this going to happen? How's this going to happen? And yeah, it's weird because obviously they just gave us so much in such a short amount of time. And then, as we mentioned on the pods, like we had Celebration, we had the new Underworld sort of kicking off, and we had the documentary, the ILM. Like, I mean, it all came off in like 1 week, and then now it's just going to be dead for another year.
Yeah. That's it. We will get stuck into all those different things over the course of the next few episodes of Code Clearance Brew. Make sure you don't miss an episode. Do subscribe on YouTube, on TikTok. Just search for us on Twitter as well. We're at UK Star Wars Pod. Do come and give us a follow and come and say hi. But yeah, we will be getting stuck into all of that stuff. But yeah, for now, any propaganda going on, mate, since we last spoke? Anything happening?
Yeah, I had a little bit of propaganda. What did I try to get them to watch? Tried the end of Rogue One. I always tried to do in Obi-Wan where it sort of sums up the prequels in just 1 minute. I think it's episode. I can't remember which episode it is in Obi-Wan, but when they sort of like do the recap. It's the first episode, isn't it?
It's at the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. So I show them that, which basically gets the prequels out of the way. But yeah, no, it's just because the sort of the Darth Vader and my younger one just loves fighting me in the minute. He like puts his Captain America suit on pretty much every night and it just comes fucking flying at me and knees me in the bollocks. So he's just likes violence basically. So then I showed him the Darth Vader and he's got his Star Wars figures which he's still playing with, so that's good.
Great.
So yeah, the propaganda's continuing with him.
Yeah, maybe not so much the violence. I mean, but great that he's got his figures still.
Yeah. I just need to get him. He's got a little Mando suit, but he doesn't use that at the minute. It's very much marvelled.
Fair dues. When he enters his White Knight phase, then he'll start wearing the Mando suit.
What about you? Any breakthroughs?
No, everything's been ticking along quite nicely at the moment. One little bit of news that I did see, I don't know if you saw, old Natalie Portman was on the sofa of This Morning recently. I don't know if you caught that. Yeah,
for film.
Yeah, she's got a new film coming out that's a bit kind of like Indiana Jonesy / sort of National Treasure type affair.
Oh, okay.
Where she plays, I'm not sure if she's an archaeologist herself, but like her and the main guy go sort of like chasing around for sort of rare artifacts and stuff, and it's a bit of a sort of like romantic comedy adventure type affair.
Okay.
So she was promoting that, and then one of the presenters was like, so obviously, Star Wars, like back in the cinema, Revenge of the Sith and stuff, and she was like reminiscing a bit, and the presenter was like, oh, did you steal something from the set before you like after you finished rapping or whatever? And she was like, oh, how did you find out about this? And she's like, oh, I've got my sources. She stole it's a bit of a bizarre prop, actually, a bit of an odd one, but do you want to hazard a guess what she might have taken?
What's she taken from Sith? It wasn't like a random vase in her lounge, was it? Because she spent a lot of time in that lounge in Revenge of the Sith, I noticed.
Actually, do you know what? Now you've said it like that, I think she might have taken it from clones,
Ah, okay.
Now you've said it like that, because I don't think this thing existed in Sith actually, which is a bit of a clue.
Okay. What did you have here in the Sith? Did you have a blaster in Sith? In Clones? A blaster, her
She did, yeah.
handcuffs.
Well,
She's tied up.
she might have had trouble sneaking a blaster out.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, was it like quite small? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Go on, tell me.
She pocketed one of Anakin's little Padawan braids that he had.
Oh, okay. God, that is doing some, isn't it?
And it random, yeah.
Yeah.
She said that they had loads of them, and she took one at the end of filming.
Nice.
But she's lost it apparently, and she hasn't got it anymore. So
Oh yeah.
don't go searching eBay, people.
Yeah, don't go on eBay for a little, and then suddenly we find it.
I was going to say I've made some out of my dog's fur that's fallen off actually. So it's a genuine Anakin Padawan braid, £42.
That's it. Oh, man. So that's good that she's back on the scene.
Yeah. I'm going to delve into this film and see what it's all about and see if it's worth going and watch. But yeah, she looked really good. She seemed quite happy. She's also she's done a bit of McElhenney and Reynolds as well. I don't know if you heard about this, but she's taken a stake in a women's football team over in America.
No way.
Yeah,
We're all at it.
yeah. I think they're called the Los Angeles Angels or something like that. Forgive me if I've got it wrong, but yeah. So she's like one of the main investors or something.
Wow. They're all chucking their money in the football.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah,
She actually said it as well. She was like, "Soccer, but I know you call it football over here."
Oh, that's good.
Ben Shepherd was like, "Yeah."
Yeah. That's what we call it. I should know. Nice. That's good. What else has been going on?
Well, I mean, if we're going to delve into a bit of Andor wrap up, I did watch an interview with Tony Gilroy, showrunner and scriptwriter. Yeah, he did a podcast, and basically after the finale dropped, and was quite candid in some of his responses to things. So yeah, it was quite good. Just trying to think the highlights. So obviously Canon is quite a big thing, isn't it? Particularly on the online world, people go on about, the old lore and the canon and
people's ages.
That's the one, yeah.
People's ages and birthdays, particularly.
Oh yes, indeed. But he so basically, like in episode, which one was it? 8, I think, how he meets K2 and what happens with that. So apparently some bod did a comic after Rogue One was released, explaining how Cassian and K2 met, basically.
Okay.
And so the presenter was like, how did you sort of reconcile that? And he was just like, yeah, Canon, I'm all for it and everything, but I was a bit pissed off that they did it. So I thought, no, we're doing our thing.
Brilliant.
And obviously a bit of pushback online from people that are, gatekeepers of Star Wars or whatever. But yeah, it was just kind of like a one-shot comic, I think. And if you're a showrunner of a big show like that and you've got 2 seasons worth of stuff and you've also basically half created Rogue One, you'd want to do that story, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, the whole kind of blurred edges with the canon and the not, and you know what I mean? Like they bring it up when, so for example, the Gorman massacre, for example, you know what I mean? Like they brought it up in all the interviews where they say, oh, Tarkin went there, and obviously we had the Gorman, then we had another one. Do you know what I mean? Like part 2. And yeah, so they sort of bring it up when it suits them. And then when oh no, we looked at that and it didn't quite make sense, But yeah, it's funny.
It is, but then but they were kind of a bit reverent towards the Gorman massacre by saying, okay, that's already happened with the Star Destroyer. Yes. We don't necessarily want to just retell that because it's boring.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, but we need something else, and obviously Gorman was like a very important situation or planet, back in the canon in the old days and stuff. So we'll just do something else on there. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I think that's quite
That makes
quite a good way of going about it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's good to reference, yeah, definitely. And we also knew that when you watch back the animation, the Rebels episode that comes straight after, what episode would it be? Episode 9, Mon Mothma's episode. They're talking about Gorman, and you know what I mean, in that as well. Like, so sort of already been pre-written for him anyway. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he sort of tied that in with that episode is quite good. And obviously the mention of Gold Squadron, which is obviously around that time as well in Rebels. And then just watching Rebels around that time as well, you're like, God, it's really good, isn't it? Like the story of it, and what's going on, and there's just a load going on, and then it cuts to Admiral Thrawn, you know what I mean? And you forget he's still kicking, he's around at that point. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things where they could have gone into, I think, but they really stuck to this character, the main characters, and their story, their own stories as well. Do you know what I mean? Which I wouldn't say has happened in the sort of TV series that much. Obviously, we had obviously got distracted with Boba Fett and went to the Mandalorian story.
Yeah.
But we've never, just to really, like that episode sort of 10, 11 with what's her name? Thingy's assistant. She works in the shop with him.
Oh, Claire,
who really isn't. You don't think is, especially in season 1, it's not a massive. She's a good character, but you wouldn't think, oh my God, they're really gonna really focus on her to kill Lutheran. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And her story, then her whole backstory and flashbacks, which is really, really interesting.
It is, and the fact that they kind of made them sort of surrogate father and daughter. I know that's not really the relationship that is supposed to be implied in that way, and they even make a joke of it in the show, don't they? Where he's like, "It's you're my daughter," when it's useful, basically.
Yeah.
But like, I suppose in a way, sort of, because I've watched the episodes a couple of times now. Like maybe it was like Lutheran's kind of way of paying her back, really, because whatever he was doing on that planet, he was obviously part of like sort of an invading force or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if her family did get killed on that planet, then he's kind of taken her under her wing, and then she's seeing all the injustice in the galaxy as they're kind of hopping from planet to planet, and he's like, well, look, I'm going to start plotting this revolution in that case, and if you want to be a part of it, hence the scene on Naboo, you've got to show me that you're prepared to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I know, and then by the end of it, she's kind of the stronger one out of the pair,
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. It's really interesting. Yeah, those flashbacks as well, and sort of him teaching her as well. The ways of sort of this skullduggery.
Yeah,
This
totally,
terrorism.
man. Yeah,
And
totally.
I just was never expecting to have flashbacks of them too. You know what I mean? Like that. So yeah, I think all these little characters and their stories, and and poor old Cyril's little stories, tragic story. You know what I mean? And it's more, even though it's called Andor. Do you know what I mean? Like it's more than that, which they don't really delve into in sort of any other season like this. You know what I mean? Like it always sticks with Ahsoka, always sticks with Obi-Wan, always sticks with the Mandalorian. It's only Boba Fett that had a little bit of a side story.
Yeah.
But that was Mandalorian, who we already had 3 series of as well. So or 2 series at that time. But yeah, really good. And I mean, the reviews have been really, really positive as well, like from both the fan side and from the press and everyone. And it'd just be interesting to see if another series will take this sort of character development narrative. You know what I mean? If they think it's a successful way of taking Star Wars forward, or whether they just go, no, that's just that style for that series and Rogue One. Do you know what I mean? That's just that. It's just the rebellion style. Do you know what I mean? And the depth of character. versus if we get another series of something else. You know what I mean?
Well, that was
Which is
something that
more
they put to
adventure.
him in that podcast. Actually, they said like, first of all, they said, "Would you come back and do more?" And he kind of said, "No, I think I'm done."
Yeah, you didn't
You know.
realize how many years you got to be on this stuff.
Well, this is the thing, because originally, as people know, the original plan for Andor was going to be 5 series, wasn't it? 5 seasons,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he actually said, Tony Gilroy said, when COVID hit, he was praying that it would kill the project.
Oh, really?
Yeah. After they did the first series, he was just like, I don't know if I can do this for like another four series, which will be like another 7-8 years or whatever.
Yeah,
And he was a bit kind of like, oh, this might curtail it.
yeah.
But then he said once they opened up, he said once the UK opened up and people could go over there and like obviously follow all of the health and safety quarantine rules and everything. But once he got over there and he started talking to Diego and like a couple of the other producers and stuff, they were like, well, how can we kind of condense the next 4 seasons into one? And that's when they came up with the idea of doing the time jump.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, he also said it'd be great if there was um, more anything along the lines of Andor in terms of that kind of, sort of really script focused, character driven stuff. But he said Star Wars is ripe for like anything. He said he'd like to see like a horror of Star Wars at some point.
Yeah, blimey, of course. You can really mix the genres up, couldn't you?
And you really could, couldn't you? Yeah. Could be very
Yeah, there's
interesting.
plenty of horror stuff
Um
to get the younger teen audience.
yeah, true. Yeah, depend. Yeah, do you want to take it down sort of the Final Destination route, or do you want to do like a real classic sort of Halloween style thing?
Yeah, B movie sort of type of thing. Yeah.
I mean, that shot, we spoke about it in our season review, didn't we? But that shot of K2 using the guy as a shield.
Yeah.
I mean, that sort of shot with him walking down the hallway, that's kind of like horror-esque.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty good.
think. But yeah, I mean, what now you've sort of had time to think. What did you think of obviously season 2? You sort of like get to and how it rates with other series.
I think there's a lot of discourse about how this is like a more sort of adult Star Wars, because it doesn't pull its punches and it kind of deals with weighty situations, and it is more character driven rather than being flashbang wallop and stuff. For me, the second series, it starts almost kind of at the same pace as the first series sort of started as well, where it's a bit ploddy,
Yeah.
setting things up. Obviously, now we know that the big reveal of the first block of things is like they're on Yavin. It's like at the time it was really cool, but I just personally, for me, I don't know how much of a rewatchability those particular episodes will have. Maybe if I don't watch it for like a year or a couple of years, I'll watch the whole lot. But I can see myself going back to like episode 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, really. The last 5 episodes I could watch individually ad hoc, any evening, I think.
Yeah. I definitely those back end ones. I watched the Mon Moth one like fucking loads of times after anyway, just in that week. Do you know what I mean? The episode 9 one, that's brilliant. Just sort of the escape and yeah, it's just a great way of escaping and him sort of killing, killing everyone on the way.
But also, do you think that's because we're a bit original trilogy biased anyway? So because it ties really into it, like with the characters that are involved and the situations and the planets, like maybe we just favour those a little bit more anyway. I don't know, mate.
Maybe, yeah, and Rebellion and just anything that's obviously nostalgic. But then I suppose, the Acolyte could have potentially been nostalgic. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in, there was loads of Jedi and it was all about the dark side. You know what I mean? Like it, and that. So yeah, I mean, not that I hated that, but like, people did. But I think, yeah, I don't know. There was something obviously it is very mature. I would say, as in the characters and their sort of complexity. You know what I mean? Rather than just like a bunch of Jedi going out to some sort of planet because they've felt a disturbance or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In some, or like in Skeleton Crew. You know what I mean? Like a load of kids escapes, which is obviously a lot more adventure based. Yeah, I wouldn't mind like a film sort of maybe. I don't know, but people love these sorts of TV series. You know what I mean? That have a lot of character depth to them. And like I think the one thing is that like Andor's got more character depth than probably Luke Skywalker, which like, do you know what I mean? Just because obviously he's just in 3 films, like originally, obviously. He's in a bit more than that, but like he chucked a lightsaber off a mountain. That's a bit of depth for you. But yeah, well, even fucking like Mon Mothma's got more screen time, or feels like screen time than fucking like Han Solo or Darth Vader or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it is funny. But yeah, so I did like all that. I think it was really good, really well done, and yeah, I think it's probably took its toll out of old Tony Gilroy. Like the there's a lot of seasons, a lot of series, and yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought I wouldn't say I still think Obi-Wan's probably better, only purely because it's Obi-Wan, and he fights Darth Vader, which was brilliant to see. But this has more, I suppose, more character, like more mature character depth. You know what I mean? So a narrative to it. But I would say Obi-Wan's definitely more. Wow, this is great.
Yeah, it's more. Obi-Wan's got that more Star Wars sort of impact, I would say.
Yeah, and just the impossible. Which I know Andor escapes from a prison, so that is still the impossible. But yeah, Obi-Wan has a lot more, to your heart, doesn't he? So
you have to be careful what you say about Luke now, though, because some people online have been like,
us?
"Is it?" Yeah,
on Twitter, Mark Hamill.
He's followed us on Twitter and called us a bunch of. No, I can't say it. It's a family show.
It's a family show.
No. Some people have been saying, "Oh, like praise be to Tony Gilroy," and now I can watch Andor, Rogue One, and A New Hope is like the best way to cap a trilogy. And then some other people have been like, all the people in Andor and Rogue One setting up the rebellion, sacrificing like everything, pushing everything to the limit, keeping hidden in the shadows just so a farm boy can go and drop a bomb
and take the glory.
Take the glory.
That's it. Mate, it's quite a small hole though, to be fair.
It's no bigger than a womp rat.
That's it. I did sell it up for you there.
You did.
Why? That's not big. Yes, yeah, totally. He just completely made it look fucking easy. He just turned up rebellion for 5 minutes. Not only did he blow up the Death Star, he's fucking escaped, picked up a princess, escaped, saw Darth Vader in his first episode.
Yeah.
And he fucking sees Darth Vader.
I know, and then him and Han get medals at the end of it.
And he gets a bloody medal. Took a lot more than the glory, didn't he? I remember seeing a thing with Tony Gilroy where he did say something like, most of the galaxy don't know who Darth Vader is or Palpatine or Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? Like this is like the everyday person, in sort of the everyday job, which I think is also a very good sort of point of view to do it. He's just like his mum who just sits on Coruscant watching telly all day.
Yeah, totally. They did ask him in the podcast if he thought about putting Palpatine or Vader in the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he just said nah. He said Vader definitely not. He was like, Vader's quite a limiting character, he said, in terms of like what he can talk about and stuff. So if you bring him in, it's what's he really going to be talking about, to be honest? And he
just gonna be going around angry, isn't he?
Yeah, just choking people and that,
Just going, right, where are these rebels? Where are these rebels? He's obsessed with getting the rebels.
Has anyone got any trackers?
Yeah, go to a checker. I hope this plan will work.
And he said in regards to Palpatine, he was like, he's just like, he'd just sort of kill any scene that he would come into. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just too big. But also as well, like, what kind of scene could they have him like come into as well, where it wouldn't be too overbearing, but it still made like it was still worthwhile. And obviously, being a big Palpatine fan, I was like, just give us one scene, and he could just be a hologram or something. It doesn't matter, but
yeah, it could have been a hologram, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Even if it was just like, You know when they would say, "I've just spoken to Palpatine." They could just easily have had a, like the back of his hood on a little, even if it was just that. I've just spoken to Palpatine. You know what I mean? Like as someone walks into that room,
Yeah, he's just
that would have been quite nice. Just a real little fucking teaser.
maybe him just as he's fading away, saying like, don't fail me or something like that.
Yeah, or do it. Just spoken to Palpatine, and he signed off the Gorman project.
Or maybe he's just like, remember, if anyone asks, it's a green energy initiative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's Order 68.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I'll let him off. I mean, he gave a good explanation. He didn't have to explain himself on certain things, but he did. So
Yeah.
that's fair play. So I think by and large, it has been well received. There's obviously the typical grifter accounts on Twitter, especially, that are deliberately trying to just say contrary things to make people reply and stuff. So they're sort of saying that Mon Mothma is like a side character that got given way too much screen time, and old Partagaz was like completely useless as a Imperial officer and all this sort of stuff. But
But they're all useless, aren't they?
well, that's the point,
They
isn't it? They're
lose.
all they're all infighting and like trying to one up each other, that they don't
Yeah, they were
focus
just
on
trying to get promoted.
exactly.
Yeah,
Filberts.
that's the way of the Empire. That's the culture. The culture document.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Get promoted.
So no, I think it was good, but like we were just chatting offline, weren't we, before we started recording, and we kind of said that kind of had all this stuff, and now probably a Mando and Grogu trailer would be the next thing, and like before Christmas or something, I would have thought.
Yeah, when's that coming out? May, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
May next year, so
May
we've
or
got a whole
June,
year
yeah.
pretty much. So yeah, and we've got no TV series in between. I think we've got like a couple of animations coming, but that's about it. But yeah, well, it's quite funny. So on LinkedIn, I found this quite funny. So there's this like British editors like association. So I started following the group, video editors, and then they came up with this thing. It's like, oh, we're going to have a chat with 4 editors of Andor season 2.
Okay.
Just join the like event. So I signed up for it. It's free, and I just watched it today. The webinar, which was today about 7:00, and it was really interesting. Like, because they've got these 4 blokes essentially, all with glasses and beards, just sort of talking. Obviously, that they've edited each. They all had an episode each. One of the guys had, I think he said he had 3 episodes to sort of cut, and obviously, like, they're talking about it from so they all had to edit at Pinewood, which was where it was being filmed at the time.
Nice.
One for security. So this was the thing. So in the edit suites, they're not allowed any paper or any pens.
Oh.
Or any phones, right? It's just because of security.
Right.
So you literally have to go into your edit suite and work, right?
Wow.
And that's it. Yeah.
That's bizarre in itself.
Yeah. So every morning they'll watch the dailies of what they filmed the previous day. So I'm guessing they're shooting sort of episode by episode, but obviously not in the right order. So then they'll get their assistants to like spin through some sort of shots and things, and then they'll start to construct these episodes. And one of the guys done sort of the editor of the Gorman Massacre, and he went to the like production department, the design department, sorry, and who had the Gorman Square, like a map of it.
Oh yeah.
And he said, "Oh, can I borrow that because I'm editing the massacre, and I would need to know where the characters are in the square." So they then had to get it signed off by top dogs that he could have the map on his wall. That's all he wanted, right? And a pencil.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he wrote like, the west side or the east side, north side, on the stairs where Andor was and where this person was, where that. So when he's cutting the massacre around and he's making sure that people are looking in the right places, You know what I mean? So like when Cyril looks at Andor, like where they are in the street. So then when he cuts to the next bit, like a cutaway to the stormtrooper, for example, was the stormtrooper in the right place, and
Yeah.
so all sort of, because obviously it's a big long scene. He said, yeah, it took him a long time to work it all out, but that's how he had to cut around the whole thing, which I thought was incredible. Yeah, that's really sort of fascinating, and also they are all the Star Wars fans. They always, so they sort of knew Star Wars quite well, and some of the assistants knew Star Wars so well, because obviously they'll do a cut with like just audio only, dialogue only, and then they'll start to put sound effects in, and then maybe music, but obviously the music hasn't been composed yet. It's just the music from the previous series, so they'll just maybe have like some of that music on loop, because then that will get done later. So it's quite a hard way of actually cutting something, but yeah. So they use sound effects, and they said that that Skywalker sounded really protective,
Right.
of their sound effects, because obviously they have all the library of the movies, but the series are pretty much sound like they're all done over here. And one of the editors in season 1, episode 8, the prison scene, used a lightsaber sound, and he's now says that he's the only one that's ever put a lightsaber in an Andor season. So when the floor comes live, he's layered it up so much. There's a lightsaber sound under it. He said you can't even hear it. He said I think they even may have taken it out in the mix. But he says he still felt like he was, he was the only one to put a lightsaber in Andor.
That's
so
brilliant.
yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it was really sort of fascinating to. I mean, obviously it's very technical, so it's obviously talking. But well, I suppose the things with editing it's half technical and half narrative. So you need to know these story arcs of these characters and things like that, and where they're going, and like you said, like in the square, for example, we hold on to Andor like for 15 seconds. It's meant to be this big sort of shooting sequence. That's why he needed to know to cut away to this and cut away to that, just to keep the pace going.
Yeah.
Of it all. So yeah, it was very, very interesting to sort of listen to it, and yeah, it hasn't seemed to have moved on huge amounts. Sort of, like it's still very traditional.
That's wicked,
Like watching
mate.
dailies in the morning. Yeah, like watching every morning they watch the dailies.
Yeah.
Of what was shot the previous day. But you can imagine just like watching 13 takes of someone going, "Bring the gun up, bring the gun down."
So I think take 5 was the best one.
Yeah, like take 5. And apparently Tony Gilroy never liked listening to. He just wanted to listen to it completely isolated with dialogue. He never wanted to hear it with the music or sound effects.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, that's interesting, isn't it? I suppose
Can you
that's.
imagine that Mon Mothma though without the music, her dancing? Like it's quite hard to imagine, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was only a voiceover on those bits, wasn't it? So it was kind of a voice that was like tracking over all of like a bit of a montage, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, but there's no music. Like imagine watching that with no music. It's completely mute. And you're like, I suppose this is cutting together. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
her dancing. You know what I mean? Like fucking raving to nothing.
I think that's kind
the
of
music after.
That's his bag, though, isn't it? I think he's so into character and script and dialogue and everything that actually, I'm not actually surprised that he did that. To be honest,
yeah, he just doesn't. He just thinks it's too distracting.
Yeah, he just wants to nail that every sentence, every word, like gels and glues together and carries the narrative forwards. It's brilliant.
And even like they were saying, the K2 stuff was hardly any of that. So usually you would redub it,
right?
Sort of after, especially if there's like, because obviously he's got stilts on, there might be a lot of set noise, so it's called AR, and but yeah, so like they didn't really do any of that, you know what I mean? Like they tried to keep his voice in as much as possible on set,
Oh, okay.
rather than redub it again afterwards. But obviously they would have done some bits just to keep the performance of Alan,
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Some good behind the scenes there from those geezers.
Speaking of Alan Tudyk, K2, saw a little clip of him as well when he was talking to someone doing like a press junket or whatever. And I think they asked him something like, have you met any of the other like droid performers or whatever since you did like Rogue One and now Andor and stuff? And he was like, yeah, when we did Rogue One, obviously there was a famous day on set when we had like a special visitor who came and shot one scene. And
Yeah.
obviously it was old Anthony Daniels, wasn't it? So he sort of like plucked up the courage to go over to him at some point, like when he was out of costume. And he was like, oh, nice to meet you, Mr. Daniels. You know, my name's Alan. I'm also playing a droid in this Star Wars film. It's like a pleasure to meet you and stuff. And he said Anthony Daniels just like looked him up and down and just sort of said, are you in a suit or are you doing it motion capture? And Tudyk was like, I'm doing it motion capture. And apparently he was like, you bastard.
I've had to stay this weight for the whole of my life.
Yeah.
Just waiting for this phone call from George.
And they're getting incarcerated in the gold suit every time.
Fucking hell, like the gold suit, you can't have a fucking belly.
No.
You can't put any on, can he?
No, I couldn't do it. I'll be the Spaceballs version.
Yeah, me too. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, so no, it was good. It was a good little webinar thing to jump on, because I don't think many of that kind of things happen. Do you know what I mean? With sort of Disney being pressured, and you know, I know about security because, again, like I know a couple of people work in audio, like post production, and they do film trailers and stuff, and they have to have like super like the bleepers that they bleep into the audio studios.
Mm.
All given obviously staff passes, and that then goes directly back to the studio.
Right.
And then the computers can't be connected to the internet, for example, things like that, you know. So like they know that like Matthew's in the audio studio at 5 o'clock, and if something ever gets leaked, do you know what I mean? They know it's probably come from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like proper fucking like security, like Big Brother.
That's like Mon Mothma levels of paranoia.
Yeah, proper.
Love it.
Proper lawyers involved in it.
Also, as well, I quite like the fact that in the edit studio you're not allowed to have pen or paper. That's just like Star Wars, though, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's like, but how would you write notes? Like, there's always you're always constantly taking that. Oh, I'll put that there, or you know what I mean? Like
they must be able to use maybe like Word or like Notepad or something, just to be like, right, I've like shot one, I've used take 4.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And save that to the desktop or something so people can see. But yeah, because you're right. Otherwise, you know, how would they? Like, how would anyone know what they've done unless they go and watch it? And then maybe Gilroy's like, "Oh, shot 4. I don't like the take of that. Is there another one or whatever?" But
and the other thing is that we're obviously working on it sort of the same time, so you don't really know what the style of, and they've all got different directors as well. You know?
Yeah, true.
You know, so like it's a bit of a head fuck, really. You know what I mean? To kind of keep it all together, and then if you're Tony Gilroy, you're watching episode 5, a scene from there, then you go and watch a scene from episode 10, and then a scene from episode 8. You know, because obviously these scenes aren't being cut in the right order, so they might start at the end, then they might get like the next day they might shoot another scene from episode 2, and then put that in. You know, which wouldn't be in the middle. It's like fucking hard. So you constantly have to be reminded of the script.
And you can't write down any notes.
No, you can't write down any notes.
Unbelievable.
So yeah, that was a good little insight, I thought.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Thanks for bringing it to the pod. It's great. I wish I'd seen it. It sounds fascinating, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't really have time to jump because they had to sign up and then they stopped, and do you know what I mean? It was all a bit fucking last minute private bollocks.
Yeah.
Because all on Eventbrite and stuff. But anyway, yeah. Sort of jump on.
Oh, fair play, mate. Fair play. Well done. I'm glad you caught it. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So I think 2 thumbs up for Andor Series 2 from Co-Clearance Blue in that case, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Well, let us know what you thought of it, as I said before, on Twitter at UK Star Wars Pod, or you can come and jump on YouTube, Co-Clearance Blue. Leave us a comment under the videos or whatever. It'd be good to hear from you. Let us know who your favourite characters were. Let us know what you didn't like, what you did like, etc. All good. Any other news, mate? Or
no, I think that was it, really. Yeah, like it was all pretty positive Andor news, wasn't it?
Yeah, as I say, there's a little bit of pushback from certain quarters, but we'll pay it no mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's
Classic
obviously-
stuff.
No, good stuff.
All right, nice. Well, on behalf of Paolo and myself, we'll say thanks for joining us, and may the force be with you all. Until next time.
Starting our approach, deactivate the security shield.
Security deflective shield will be deactivated when we have confirmation of your code transmission. Stand by.